Basically, this project is it's actually one of the first of its kind in Zambia, and it's quite different from the normal grid under ZESCO. So this is a cooperative that is running this project. So we've been running this project for about 6 years now, and what it is that the purpose of us running it, we have to make sure that we collect the funds and to ensure that we sustain.
Zambia maraicha tabaye shibile twaleya mwena kusamvya so no mabaisa paramikira ko so tuleya mwana maraicha
ede wakasukulu ino stana ba free mukuberenga ama studies yonse yalesa mu mukatika masambiro yabo
bantu twale waya limbi ninkuni limbi muliro nitwapi awe nomba mukwayi tutinika pofi.
What we have done is we've connected about 450 rural grass-thatched households, with 60 kilowatt power capacity.
Mpanta village is essentially on the shores of Bangweulu, and the predominant activity there is fishing, and most of this fish was actually being transported to Mansa, but now they can refrigerate.
Uswa wa malaiti walilengawa ifintuku wa mina kupantu ama TV tatwale tamba ifilimba twalesha nama notuma battery utu nono ede wakasukulu ino stana ba free mukuberenga ama studies yonse yalesa mu mukatika masambiro yabo na fimbi fefe amabuya ntashifya utira na ma fridge nomba ale bomba esabe tulere sunga bwino sana nangutira pona 3 days 5 days twasuka fe mu fridge filafina kashi tulete hotela fikuli mwemwe okutekozo
obuya ntanshi mukwayi buli fye bwino twali totera kabiri twamutasha mwe baretere efifikulwa fya buya ntanshi ela fira twafwa mwamo na ntanshi twale waya no tu nani kakoroboy twale kitaka koroboy filia mo mwastiro tumafuta parafini elo mwatapo kwambushe bwangu twapo elo ngani kendo yeka wano tefye bwangu yakitashani yapo nombe iki kintu awe mukwayi twalitashya ukukisa yangu bushi kukukisa ukupyanga munganda yangu bushi kukupyanga imyensikire elo nakukulya natebetefya kulya mchichini nareta munganda muri urubuto awe ni bwino mukwayi twalimitashya nakabiri ifikurwa kakusheniko
yale twafa turesa nikira ko ifintu era ufuti na wakasukuru waleberengera kayibambya maraicha tabaye shibile twaleya mwena kusamvya so no mabaisa paramikira ko so tuleya mwana maraicha turendo mwabuta tuenda filai kanu fyo mweshero waesero mwana buta na ngutakuri mweshi nomba murabuta
pantu buya ntanshi twalisanga inombe charo cheshali tumpuluka kale amalachi twaleya mwena kusamvya nomba tuya mwena fye muno mwine mu Mpanta so ama fridge ama TV fyonse nomba tuistira fino kulabo mfya malaiti akali amalaiti kuno bale tsika chichalo chesu chali shalira sana eno sta nombe chalo chesu chali tumpuluka tuli abantungwa tuli totera kubuteko bwatupera malaiti na amafoni yonse tulabomfya nomba takwa go kutwala amafoni yanchajire niko kubwika fye munganda yamba no kuchachika
twalitasya sana ukumitasya apa kurufye mufintu ifyo mwatukitira kansi mwalire tobu ya ntanshi mukwayu busuma sana bantu twale waya limbi ninkuni limbi muliro wapito muliro nokupirwa ni mulya mwini tawibukire kulye nani ilyambukirwe mosquito wisyororosye muliro nawo bana pamuru nitwapi awe nomba mukwayi tutinika pofi twalitashya twalitotera ukukirana mukutotera
The solar system is from the sun to the solar panels. From the solar panels, then it goes to the charge controllers. Charge controllers to the batteries. This is the battery we have seen here. From the batteries, that's when it goes to the inverters. Inverters is where the conversion is happening. It converts the direct current to alternative current. From there, from the inverters, that's where AC is come from to supply the customers or households. In this room, we refuel the battery water and the battery acid, and cleaning the batteries. Yeah, and measuring some voltages and the currents. That's what is happening here. And we also measuring the specific gravity of the batteries. Specific gravity is the power which is remaining in the batteries, the power or how it can work in future. Yeah, they use a lot of things there in the households. They use the TV, fridges. Some they manage to buy fridges and TVs and radios, and so many. They are many. The advantage of this system, the sun is already there. There's no season where there is no sun. That's the main purpose. So the sun is always, so we can have electricity at any time. At any time. That's a main purpose.
What we have done is we've connected about 450 rural grass-thatched households, with 60 kilowatt power capacity. Basically, this project is actually one of the first of its kind in Zambia, and it's quite different from the normal grid under ZESCO. So initially what it is that the rural education as an implementing agency under government, they should hand over to the private sector. So what they did is that they wanted to have a different perspective, unlike it is where they hand over to ZESCO. So what they did is they handed over to a local cooperative that was actually formed in the village by the name of the Kafita Cooperative Society. So this is a cooperative that is running this project. So we've been running this project for about 6 years now. And what it is that the purpose of us running it, you have to make sure that we collect the funds and to ensure that we sustain the project.
What we've been doing mainly is installation of standalone home solar systems on public and social institutions such as schools, rural health centers, and chiefs' palaces. Now, about 2011, we started construction of solar mini grids. This is where we got a credit facility from Development Bank of Zambia. Now, this was co-financed by the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. And in looking at the plant, what we were targeting was construction of a 60 kilowatt power station, which would supply a power to well over 420 households. And there's a harbour there. There's a marketplace, there are 2 schools, there's a rural health center, and there are other facilities surrounding the Mpanta village. Now, the catchment area for all these facilities that have been electrified is about 6,000 people. Now, this was out of the baseline study that was done then in 2010. I'm sure by now that catchment has increased. The key thing about supplying power to that was for lighting. and you'll find that most of the houses have lights. Again, if you look at the schools, we're talking about enhanced hours of study by the pupils, and also enhanced planning for the teachers in terms of lesson planning. We are looking at the health center, which before it was undergoing various challenges in terms of lighting. And these included challenges such as when they are doing perhaps operations and deliveries in the night, it was very difficult. They were using candle, they were using light from their mobile phones, etc., etc. Now that has changed. At the marketplace, now there's a trading going on. There's a revamped sort of facilities there. You find refrigeration is there, including the harbour. If you might wish to know that Mpanta village is essentially on the shores of Bangweulu, and the predominant activity there is fishing. And most of this fish was actually being transported to Mansa, but now they can refrigerate the fish there.
We have a lot of operation and maintenance costs that we need to cover. So the community has to pay. And so there's a tariff that is in place, which we are calling the ability to pay principal tariff, which was designed by the Energy Regulation Board in partnership with the Rural Electrification Authority and the cooperative. So we came up with a tariff structure that would ensure that it doesn't disadvantage the community. So it is well structured, a fixed tariff rate between the ranges of 30 kwacha to the highest is 100 kwacha, depending on the number of rooms, for example, that the community. So rooms that have about three rooms household, they pay 30 kwacha, 4 rooms pay 35, then 5 and 6 pay 60 and 65 respectively. Then 7 rooms going upwards, they pay 70 kwacha. Yeah, so then we have also got staff houses, so those that are in government, that are working for the rural health center as well as the school, them they are paying 100 kwacha. Because people were experiencing energy in their households for the very first time in their lifetime. So it has been a learning process. Of course, we have a lot of lessons that we've learned from this project, being the first project in the country, so which we have shared with, I think, a lot of local and international stakeholders. So since this approach is quite new in the country, and we've been learning also from our colleagues outside the country, just to see how best such project can be sustained. And from the look of things, I think we have gotten a lot of lessons which we are now using at the moment to ensure that it actually grows and scaled up to other countries.
Solar energy is very, very sustainable. If you look at the current challenges that we've had with hydro, I think about 2,800 megawatts of installed generation capacity is what we have currently in terms of power in Zambia, and 85% of that is hydro. So you'll find that on average, if you look at the national access to electricity, there's only about 31%, and of that 67% is for the urban area and 4% is the rural. And obviously, without saying, we all know the challenges we've had with rainfall patterns. Because of that, we've seen lower water levels, and right now, obviously, we're having issues of load shedding. The cost of production of hydro is, in comparison to solar energy or renewable energies, is slightly higher. If you're looking at solar energy, I think you'd be looking at something like 0.03 or 0.06 cents per kilowatt hour. In the US, it's on record that generation of hydro is about 0.80 or like 80 cents per kilowatt hour. So if you look at those calculations, you can see that hydro electricity or production or generation of hydroelectricity is much more expensive. Solar is cheap and it's competitive. Look at Zambia, for example. We enjoy on average, I think, 7 to 8 hours of intense sunshine, you know. So why don't we harness the UV sun, the intensity that we have? Why don't we harness the sun, the solar that we have, and, you know, generate energy from there? It's much more competitive. It's easier to get actually more competitors to come on board. Like recently we saw, I think it should be around March, where the President commissioned the Bangwelu project, which was funded. I think we saw Neon and First Solar coming on board, where they'll generate about 54 megawatts of power. So we need more IPPs to come on board, and it's sustainable, it's competitive, and I think in the long term, looking at the change in weather patterns, it's the best for Zambia.
On average, in Zambia, we have between 2,000 and 3,000 hours of sunshine every year, which translates to about 5.5 kilowatt hour per square meter every day. And that is huge potential. And then as you move northwards in the country, the recording is actually very high, about 2,300 kilowatt per hour of solar radiation per square meter every year, and that is huge potential if it's harnessed. If all households were equipped with solar panels on their roofs, that means domestic energy will be harnessed from the solar panels, meaning ZESCO and CEC and others will now concentrate on supplying the energy to the industrial hubs, and that will make a huge difference, because there's quite a huge concern now that 4 hours will be lost every day wherever there's load shedding. So if the households concentrated on getting their power from the solar panels, and then the big industrial hubs get from the current hydro, which is about 95%, there would be a huge difference, and it will enhance economic activity.
If you look at currently, in terms of supply and demand, about 70% of what we are generating in terms of hydroelectricity goes to the mines. Why don't we say, okay, fine, the mines are very power intensive and they drive very huge machinery. But then look at it from the other end. We've got shopping malls, we've got hospitals, we've got schools. Why don't we say, fine, let's domesticate solar energy? The ZESCO in itself can embrace IPPs where they can have power purchase agreements or feed-in tariffs. And they say, okay, fine, let's say look at communities, for example. You can set up units which can power houses, which can power shopping malls. If you look at shopping malls, how many appliances use electricity? You've got these storages, you've got computers, you've got cameras. There's so much usage of electricity. Why don't we say, let's get as much of this off the grid and power it with solar? That's the best we can do. We've got carports. Those carports on top can have solar panels. And those panels obviously drive, it be the hospitals, they can drive the shopping malls that we have. There's so much we can do with solar energy. With the changes in weather patterns, like right now with the rainfall, which is so unpredictable, that's the best way we can go. We can leverage on that and see then how best we can sustain economic growth. Load shedding has its impact on MSMEs, for starters. You've got idle labor. You've got overtime hours because somebody has to catch up for those hours. Sometimes people are forced to hire other sources of energy, to complement or supplement, these deficits. Those are all huge costs. Sometimes you get damage to equipment because of the coming and going of power. So the solar energy, I think, is the best way to go. And as an economy, not only nationally, I think from the household level, we can embrace that. And then obviously at the same time, you see the challenges that we have right now. We've been talking about issues about tariffs. There's been a concern about inflation, because the cost of production also goes up. I think solar energy cuts that. And then at the same time, if you look at transmission lines, like right now, that's a huge cost for ZESCO, rolling those cables and towers. But then if we're going to go solar, I think we can meet also the challenges or the need for rural population. One thing you shouldn't forget is, on average, our population is growing by about, let's say, 2.7, 2.9%. So if our population is growing, then the demand for electricity is growing. At the same time, our industry is growing. So then how best can we ensure that the pace at which industry is growing, also our supply of electricity is the same? Considering the fact that, when you look at the Vision 2030, the plan is to achieve universal access to electricity for everyone. So how do we do that? The best is for us to go solar.
After learning the lessons that we've learned at the Mpanta project, we came up with 2 other projects. And these projects we started in 2017. One such project is in a place called Chunga, which is in the Kafue National Park. Mpanta is at 60 kilowatt, but this one is going to be at a bigger capacity of 200 kilowatts. The area is predominantly a national parks, a training center, and it has a number of facilities and schools within the vicinity. Right now, for that project, we have completed the civil works. We are now moving into the technical equipment part of it. The other projects that we are starting, this is actually even much bigger. We are starting a solar project on Lunga, in Lunga District. This is going to be at 300 kilowatt. We are commencing the civil works this year. And maybe just to interest you to say, on Lunga District, we actually did a pilot project in terms of studying the wind regime in the area. So that we are going to have a hybrid of technologies on Lunga District, because Lunga District is a very unique district. It's a cluster of islands with the main island, and providing electricity by any other technology would be very, very expensive. So those are the 2 projects that we are embarking on after the Mpanta project. And what we are saying here is that even in future there are projects that have been identified in the Rural Electrification Master Plan, where we will go on developing solar mini grids in different areas where we cannot reach by grid extension.
Awe naomba mukwayi tutinika pofi. Twalitashya twalitotera ukukirana mukutotera.